Good morning, students. Today we are going to start with the history chapter number 2, New Kings and Kingdoms. In this chapter, we will study that between the 700 and 1200 AD, some new kingdoms emerged in India, you can say. When Harshvardhan died, Harshvardhan was the Indian ruler who ruled North India from 606 to 647 AD. When he died in 647 AD, many small kingdoms emerged in North India. The rulers of these kingdoms were mostly big landlords or samantas. Now, if you remember, who were samantas? They were the defeated rulers who were under the control of the king who has defeated them. But now, these samantas grew more powerful. There were some other groups of people also, such as Marathas, Sikhs, Jats, Ahoms, and Kayasthas. They also wanted to take advantage of this time, and they also wanted to become politically powerful in some specific areas. During this period, there was a long tripartite struggle. What is tripartite struggles? It is a battle between three kingdoms or three parties or three rulers. Now, which were these three kingdoms? These were Rashtrakutas of Deccan, Gurjara Pratiharas of Gujarat and Rajasthan, and Palas in Bengal. Now, they fought with each other for 200 years, and this war weakened all of them. बहुत वीक हो गए तीनों के तीनों इस वॉर के बाद. As they became weak, other samantas, they got the opportunity to become independent. Now they had to offer tributes and gifts to the kings under whose control they have surrendered them. But now they also wanted to become independent. Now, what were the reasons that there was a war between these three kingdoms? What were the reasons? First reason was that all these three wanted to have control over Kannauj. Now, Kannauj was a capital of Harshvardhan. Kannauj was situated near the river Ganga, and it helped to maintain good relations with other territories and to do trade. This region was very fertile and good in agriculture, which provided good amount of taxes to the state. So this was the first reason they had a war. All of them wanted to have control over this place. Which was this place? Kannauj. Second reason was that Pratiharas and Rashtrakutas they also tried to control Malwa and Gujarat, as they were located on the coast and it was beneficial for trade. What do you mean by coast? It is the coastal region means which is near the sea. Third reason was all these three kingdoms wanted to increase their prestige and fame. What is prestige and fame? नाम और शान जिसको हम कह सकते हैं. Now how they wanted to increase their prestige and fame? By defeating other powers. So this was a third reason. But by the 10th century, all these three kingdoms declined because they became weak after the war. Now in around 9th and 10th century, the new powerful dynasty emerged. What do you mean by dynasty? एक ही फैमिली के जब रूलर्स एक के बाद एक रूल करते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड डायनेस्टी, या हम खानदान भी बोलते हैं. सो these new powerful dynasty emerged. They were the rulers of several kingdoms of central and western India, and they called themselves Rajputras or Rajputs. The historians believed that these Rajputs, they were the descendants of tribes. Descendants means sons. किसके बेटे, कहाँ उनके पूर्वज कौन थे? So they were the descendants of tribes like Shakas, Kushanas, Huns, Gurjaras, and Gonds. But Rajputs claimed that they were descendants of sun and the moon. राजपूत क्या कहते थे कि उनके पूर्वज कौन है? सन एंड द मून है. सो दैट इज वाई दे गेव देमसेल्व्स लॉफ्टी टाइटल्स. लॉफ्टी टाइटल्स मीन्स उन्होंने अपने आप को जो बहुत बड़े बड़े नाम दिए. दे वर सूर्यवंशी एंड चंद्रवंशी. सो दे वर these Rajputs were warriors. Warriors mean जो लड़ाई करते हैं वॉर में. So they joined themselves in Kshatriya Varnas. That time in India there were 4 Varnas: Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. And Kshatriyas were the warriors. So as these Rajputs were also warriors, so they joined themselves in Kshatriya Varna. Pratiharas were the first to acquire the Rajput status. जिन्होंने सबसे पहले राजपूत का स्टेटस लिया, they were the Pratiharas. Some Rajputs, there were 4 most important kingdoms that arose from the ruins of the older Pratihara kingdom. Ruins means जो उनके तबाही के बाद जो विशेष बचते हैं. तो प्रतिहारा किंगडम जब रूइन हुई तो उससे 4 इम्पॉर्टेंट नई किंगडम्स बनी. विच वर दोज 4 इम्पॉर्टेंट किंगडम्स? द चंडेलाज ऑफ बुंदेलखंड. चौहान्स हैड देयर सेंटर एट साकंबरी, साउथ ईस्ट ऑफ दिल्ली. थर्ड वर सोलंकीज ऑफ गुजरात एंड काथियावाड़. Fourth were Parmaras, who established their control in Malwa with their capital at Dhar near Indore. Now these Rajputs, they were not just the rulers, but they were also soldiers and commanders. As I have told you, they were warriors also. So they were soldiers and commanders who served in the armies of their different kings all over the subcontinents. जब भी किसी किंग को ज़रूरत होती थी वॉर में, तो they were serving them as soldiers and commanders. So they were very brave and very loyal. Loyal क्या होता है? वफादार. वो बहुत brave थे, courageous थे, and they were loyal also. So that is why the political condition of North India during the early medieval period was not very stable. Because many independent kingdoms arose, छोटी छोटी kingdoms बन गई, सबके अपने अपने rulers हो गए. So that is why the political condition was not stable at that time. The northwest frontiers borders, they were neglected because of this unstable condition. There was insecurity from northwestern passes that the Arabs and Turkish invaders, they may enter into northwest frontiers. Now because of this instability, the northwest frontier borders were neglected. उसकी तरफ ध्यान ही नहीं दिया गया और उसका रिजल्ट क्या हुआ? That Arabs and Turkish invaders, they entered from there into India, and they invaded India many times. Frequently they were invading. Invading means attacking. So they attacked India from northwest frontier regions very frequently. बहुत जल्दी जल्दी उन्होंने अटैक किया इंडिया के ऊपर. सो सबसे पहली इन्वेजन किसकी थी? कहाँ पर थी? अरब्स की सिंध के ऊपर. सो अरब्स इन्वेडेड सिंध. The first state in the Indian subcontinent to become a target of the Muslim invasion was Sindh. The new religion of Islam had emerged in the 7th century AD in Arabia. Prophet Muhammad's teaching of Islam united the opposing Arab tribes into one religion. अब जो अरब ट्राइब्स एक दूसरे के अगेंस्ट थी, प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद जो मुस्लिम्स के गुरु थे, उन्होंने अपनी टीचिंग्स के साथ इनको यूनाइट कर दिया एक रिलीजन में. Islam spread very fast in all directions. Towards the east of Mediterranean, the Arabs soon conquered Persia and Afghanistan. पर्शिया और अफगानिस्तान के ऊपर कॉन्कर किया उन्होंने, जीत लिया उनको. आफ्टर द प्रॉफिट्स डेथ, जब प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद की डेथ हो गई, द सक्सेसर्स ऑफ द प्रॉफिट दे वर कॉल्ड कलिफ और खलीफा, and they became religious and political heads of Islamic empire in the world, one after another. प्रॉफिट की डेथ के बाद जो उसके आगे सक्सेसर्स आए, उसके नेक्स्ट जो गुरु आए, तो उनको कालिफ और खलीफा बोला जाता था, और वो रिलीजियस और पॉलिटिकल हेड बन गए इस्लामिक एम्पायर के. इंडियन प्रोविंस ऑफ सिंध वाज अटैक्ड बाय मोहम्मद बिन कासिम. One of the capable Arab generals of Umayyad Caliph in 712 AD, because of certain circumstances created by the pirates of Thatta region of Sindh, they looted the treasures meant for the Caliph. Now what happened? Indian province of Sindh was attacked by Muhammad bin Qasim. मोहम्मद बिन कासिम ने सिंध के ऊपर अटैक कर दिया और उन्होंने जो कालिफ के लिए ट्रेजर्स थे, जो खजाना था, उसको लूट लिया. द रूलर ऑफ सिंध, हु वाज द रूलर ऑफ सिंध? दाहिर. ही वाज हेल्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर दिस. उसको जिम्मेवार बताया गया कि इस लूट का जिम्मेवार कौन है? जो सिंध का रूलर दाहिर है, वो है. Muhammad bin Qasim, he was a Arab general. He defeated Dahir, who fought back bravely. Now there was a fight between Muhammad bin Qasim and Dahir, but in this fight Dahir was defeated and Multan was captured by Muhammad bin Qasim. Now who was Muhammad bin Qasim? He was the general of Arab. However, after Multan, the Arabs could not penetrate further in India. लेकिन मुल्तान को कैप्चर करने के बाद अरब्स आगे इंडिया में कहीं नहीं घुस पाए. पेनिट्रेट मीन्स घुसना. बिकॉज ऑफ डिफरेंट रीजन्स. बहुत सारे रीजन्स थे कि वो क्यों नहीं आगे इंडिया में और किसी रीजन में क्यों नहीं घुस पाए. बट द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट रीजन वॉज द डेथ ऑफ मोहम्मद बिन कासिम. Now, after the death of Muhammad bin Qasim, his successors were not capable. उसके जो आगे रूलर्स आए, सक्सेसर्स आए, वो इतने कैपेबल नहीं थे. सो दैट इज़ वाई दे वर नॉट एबल टू पेनिट्रेट फर्दर इन इंडिया. Now the next invasion was of Mahmud of Ghazni. Now Ghaznewad dynasty was founded at Ghazni. गजनी में डायनेस्टी बनी. दैट वाज गजनीवाद डायनेस्टी. एंड हु वाज द फाउंडर ऑफ दिस डायनेस्टी? ही वाज अ स्लेव सोल्जर, Alptigin. What was the name of this soldier? Alptigin. His successor and son-in-law Sabukjin extended his rule over Peshawar and part of Khorasan. He was the first Muslim ruler to invade Kabul in India for capturing India's wealth. Now, उसका जो successor था Alptigin का, what was his name? He was his son-in-law also. What was his name? Sabukjin. उसने क्या किया? उसने अपना जो रूल था पेशावर तक एक्सटेंड किया और कुछ पार्ट जो खुरासान का भी उसमें इंक्लूड किया. वो एक फर्स्ट मुस्लिम रूलर था जिसने काबुल पे अटैक किया इंडिया में. एंड वाई ही अटैक काबुल? टू कैप्चर इंडियाज़ वेल्थ. जो इंडिया में इतनी वेल्थ थी, दौलत थी, उसको कैप्चर करने के लिए. महमूद ऑफ गजनी, द सन ऑफ सबुकजिन. अब आगे उसका जो बेटा था सबुकजिन का, what was his name? Mahmud of Ghazni. He ruled Ghazni for more than 37 years and invaded India several times. Mahmud of Ghazni ने इंडिया के ऊपर कितनी बार, बहुत बार अटैक किया. Why he attacked India? to plunder its wealth. Plunder means lootna, so that he can use that wealth to extend his own kingdom and authority in गजनी. वो इंडिया से पैसा लूट कर ले जाता था और अपने वहाँ गजनी में जाकर उसको अपने किंगडम को इस्टेब्लिश करने के लिए उस पैसे को यूज कर लेता था. महमूद was deeply religious man, but he was also a practical imperialist. Imperialist means who were the ruler who used military power to extend military forces to extend power. उसको बोलते हैं imperialist. जो ruler अपनी मिलिट्री फोर्स यूज करके अपनी पावर को एक्सटेंड करता है. ही वॉज रिलीजियस मैन ऑल्सो एंड ही वॉज imperialist also. He received honor from Caliph also. He invaded India every year from 1001 to 1026 AD, and he has not lost even a single battle. लगातार हर साल उसने 1001 से लेकर 1026 AD तक कंटिन्यूसली इंडिया के ऊपर अटैक किया, बट he won in all the battles. He attacked the major temples of India, which were having lot of wealth. Now, temples में बहुत सारी wealth थी, because at that time in India, in temples there were the idols of gods made of gems, gold, diamonds, pearls, and even the walls of temples were also made of so many precious gems. So he attacked major temples of India so that he can he can plunder the wealth of the temples. He collected valuable goods from the temples, and he destroyed those temples. On the strength of this wealth, I have already told you, he was collecting the wealth from India, and he was using this wealth in his capital city Ghazni to establish his own capital city. He built many beautiful, magnificent buildings in his capital. Now the third invasion was of Muhammad Ghori. After the death of Mahmud of Ghazni, his empire broke because of lack of capable successors. After him also there were no capable successors, so that is why his empire broke up. Independent kingdoms which emerged after that in that area included the kingdom of Ghur. अब उसकी डेथ के बाद उसकी एम्पायर जो थी वो टूट गई और उसमें अब बहुत सारी इंडिपेंडेंट किंगडम्स बन गई और उसमें से एक किंगडम थी किंगडम ऑफ घुर. Now this was under the joint control of two brothers. Now this Ghur kingdom was under the control of two brothers, Gyazuddin and Muhammad Ghori. Muhammad Ghori, he was a younger brother. He was given the control of Ghazni and Kabul. Muhammad Ghori, he was inspired by the legends of Mahmud's glorious victories. अब वो बहुत इंस्पायर्ड था सॉरी मोहम्मद घोरी बहुत इंस्पायर्ड था महमूद ऑफ गजनी की जो विक्ट्रीज थी, उसकी जो जीत थी उससे, एंड how he has captured the wealth from India. So he also wanted to follow the same path. So what he did between the years of 1175 to 79 AD, he attacked and captured old Muslim colonies of Sindh and Multan. He also annexed means captured Peshawar, and he damaged Lahore in Punjab. In 1189, Muhammad Ghori besieged the fort of Sirhind. Besiege means घेरा डालना. उसने जो सरहिंद का किला था उसको घेरा डाल लिया. It made him against the Rajput ruler Prithviraj Chauhan, who ruled the territory from Ajmer to Delhi. अब उसकी इस एक्शन से क्या हुआ, पृथ्वीराज चौहान, ही वॉज अ राजपूत रूलर, वो उसके अगेंस्ट हो गया. सो चौहान ruler became enemy of मोहम्मद घोरी. अब दोनों आपस में एक दूसरे के एनिमी हो गए और इसका रिजल्ट क्या हुआ? देयर वर 2 battles between them. First battle of Terrain and the second battle of Terrain. The first battle of Terrain was fought between both of them, and in this battle मोहम्मद घोरी वॉज बैडली वुंडेड. इसमें वो बहुत बुरी तरह जख्मी हो गया था एंड ही वॉज डिफीटेड. इन सेकेंड बैटल ऑफ टेरेन मोहम्मद घोरी ऑर्गेनाइज्ड अगेन हिज आर्मी. उसने दोबारा से अपनी आर्मी को ऑर्गेनाइज किया एंड अटैक्ड पृथ्वीराज चौहान after a very careful preparation. Now this time he was well prepared. So in this battle Muhammad surrounded the Rajput army from all sides. इस बार मोहम्मद पूरी प्रेपरेशन के साथ आया था. उसने राजपूत आर्मी को पूरी सारी तरफ से घेर लिया था एंड ही शैटर्ड द राजपूत्स को बिखेर दिया था. एंड इन दिस बैटल पृथ्वीराज चौहान वॉज कैप्चर्ड एंड किल्ड. In 1194 AD, मोहम्मद डिफीटेड जयचंद. अब इस बैटल के बाद आगे क्या अचीवमेंट्स थी मोहम्मद घोरी की? उसने और कौन कौन सी जगह पर कैप्चर किया? ही डिफीटेड जयचंद, द गहादवाल रूलर ऑफ कनौज, बयाना एंड ग्वालियर. So all these places were captured by him and defeated by him. Muhammad was killed in 1205 AD while suppressing the revolt of Ghokhars of Punjab and lost his Indian empire in the hands of Qutbuddin Aibak. Now there was revolt by the खोखर्स ऑफ पंजाब के खोखर्स ने रिवोल्ट कर दिया था. तो उनको सप्रेस करने के लिए, उनको दबाने के लिए, उस रिवोल्ट को दबाने के लिए जो लड़ाई हुई उसमें मोहम्मद जो था वो मर गया. ही वॉज किल्ड. एंड उसकी जो इंडिया में एम्पायर थी अब वो किसके हैंड्स में आ गई? कुतुबुद्दीन ऐबक के हैंड्स में आ गई. हिज विक्ट्रीज in India laid down the foundation of Muslim rule in India when Aibak founded the Delhi Sultanate in 1206 AD. Now, these were the invasions in India by the Muslim invaders. Now we will do a case study of Chola Empire. Chola was also one of the dynasty. Chola dynasty became prominent, बहुत popular हुई when in 850 AD its founder Vijayalaya of Urayur defeated the Pallavas and snatched Tanjore from them. ये कब पॉपुलर हुए चोलास? जब उन्होंने जब उसके चोलास का जो फाउंडर थे विजयालया, उन्होंने पल्लवास को डिफीट किया और उनसे तंजोर छीन लिया. तंजोर was then made the capital of Cholas. By the end of 9th century, the Cholas were able to defeat the Pandyas also, and this brought the southern Tamil country also under their control. However, the Cholas had to defend their position against the Rashtrakutas. Now, as Cholas were very prominent that time, became very powerful that time, उन्होंने तंजोर को भी कैप्चर कर लिया था. उन्होंने साउदर्न तमिल कंट्री को भी अपने कंट्रोल में ले लिया था. बट स्टिल दे हैव टू डिफेंड देमसेल्व्स फ्रॉम राष्ट्रकूटास. अपने आप को राष्ट्रकूटास से उनको बचाना पड़ता था. राष्ट्रकूटास का जो किंग था कृष्णा III, ही डिफीटेड द चोला किंग एंड कैप्चर्ड द नॉर्दर्न पार्ट ऑफ चोला एम्पायर. नो, राष्ट्रकूटा किंग, द नेम ऑफ राष्ट्रकूटा किंग वॉज कृष्णा III. उसने चोला किंग को हरा दिया और नॉर्दर्न पार्ट जो चोला एम्पायर का था उसके ऊपर कब्जा कर लिया. दिस वॉज अ सीरियस सेटबैक फॉर द चोलास, बट दे रैपिडली रिकवर्ड, particularly after the death of Krishna III in 965 AD and the decline of Rashtrakuta Empire. Now, देयर वॉज इसके बाद क्या हुआ? वो चोलास जो थे वो बहुत पीछे चले गए थे. उन्होंने रिकवर भी किया, लेकिन जब कृष्णा III की डेथ हुई तो राष्ट्रकूटा एम्पायर डिक्लाइन हो गया. मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट चोला रूलर्स वर राजा राजा वन, ही वॉज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड राजा राजा, and Rajendra I. Raja Raja defeated Eastern Chalukya of Vengi, the Pandyas of Madurai, and the Gangas of Mysore. He also invaded Lanka and conquered its northern portion. Rajendra Chola was also an able warrior. बहुत काबिल वॉरियर था वो भी, and he was a very good administrator also like his father. He even went up to Bengal and captured some areas of Ganga region. To celebrate this occasion, अब अपनी इस जीत को सेलिब्रेट करने के लिए उसने क्या किया? He built a city called Gangaikonda Cholapuram on the banks of Kaveri. Now what was the meaning of this name? The city of the Chola conqueror of the Ganga. This city became the new capital of Cholas. He also assumed the title of Gangaikonda Chola. उसको एक टाइटल मिला Gangaikonda Chola. His greatest achievement was the conquest of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. He also completed the conquest of Sri Lanka by defeating the Lankan king and queen in a battle. Sri Lanka remained under the Chola ruler for 50 years. Maldives Islands and Sumatra and other places were also subjugated. Subjugated means captured. So these were his achievements. Now these policies of conquest followed by the rulers were, why they were following these policies of conquests, क्यों ये अटैक कर रहे थे सारे रूलर्स? वन रीज़न वॉज टू सेटिस्फाई देयर इम्पीरियलिज्म. इम्पीरियलिज्म क्या होती है? एक जो राजा रूल करता है उसको बोलते हैं इम्पीरियलिज्म. तो अपने राजा होने की जो फीलिंग है उसको सेटिस्फाई करने के लिए एक तो वो अटैक करते थे, एंड द अदर रीज़न वॉज to bring the trade with Southeast Asia under their control. The strong navy that the Cholas developed was a main reason for their success. The successors of Rajendra I were very weak, and so the empire started declining after the death of Rajendra I. Expansion of foreign trade. Now the foreign trade expanded during this period. The Cholas were very good in foreign trade and maritime activity. Maritime activity means the trade which is done through the sea route, that is called maritime activity. So during the period of Cholas, the foreign trade expanded. The Cholas had worked hard to secure both the west and the east coast of peninsular India in order to extend their military as well as commercial influence over the trade routes of these regions. उन्होंने बहुत हार्ड वर्क किया ताकि वो वेस्ट और ईस्ट कोस्ट जो थे पेनिनसुलर इंडिया के, उनके ऊपर वो कंट्रोल कर सके, उनको सिक्योर कर सके, ताकि उनकी जो उनको वो अपनी कनेक्शन कर सकें, ट्रेड रूट कनेक्ट कर सकें these region through these regions. Kaveri Pattam on the coast near the Kaveri Delta and Nagapattinam were major port towns of the Cholas. Those two towns became hubs of trade and commerce and attracted many religious faiths including Buddhism. Now, what type of agriculture and irrigation was there during the rule of Cholas? Chola rulers, they constructed many tanks for providing the peasants with water for irrigation. उन्होंने बहुत सारे टैंक्स बनवाए ताकि जो फार्मर्स हैं, पीजेंट्स हैं, उनको पानी मिल सके अपनी फसलों को देने के लिए. रिवर कावेरी and its channels were used for this purpose. Efforts were made for the extension of cultivation by clearing the forest. Forest को clear किया गया ताकि cultivation को बढ़ाया जाए. Chola rulers also took up elaborate survey of land in order to fix the government share of land revenue. उन्होंने अपना land survey करके उसको बढ़ाने की कोशिश की, लैंड को बढ़ाने की कोशिश की ताकि उनको ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा रेवेन्यू आए. Nature of government. In the age of Cholas, the whole South India was for the first time brought under single government. कैसी गवर्नमेंट थी अब चोलास के पीरियड में ही एक ऐसा पीरियड था जब पूरा साउथ इंडिया पहली बार एक सिंगल गवर्नमेंट के कंट्रोल के अंडर लाया गया था. They tried to solve the problems of public administration. Now this government, it tried to administer and solve the problems of public central administration. Now the king was a supreme commander during the Cholas rule. King was a supreme commander, all the power was in his hand, but he was assisted and advised by a council of ministers, or you can see a group of ministers. Cholas, they were having a huge army, and this army included elephants, cavalry and infantry. Cavalry means the army on the soldiers who were on the horses, and infantry means the soldiers who were fighting on foot. So he was having the army including elephants, cavalry and infantry, and these were the three pillars of his administration. He was also having a strong navy. Navy क्या होती है? जो आर्मी जो पानी में फाइट करती है, that is called army, navy. He was having a strong navy also, and he was having a powerful bureaucracy. Bureaucracy means government officers, and these government officers were assisting him in the task of administration. Then provincial administration. Now the whole empire was divided into provinces. These provinces were called mandalams, and the in charge of these mandalams were mainly the members of royal family. जो king की family के members थे वो इन mandalams के in charge होते थे. And these mandalams were further divided into kotam, or these kotam were also called Valanandu. And these Valanadu were divided into nadus, and each nadu was comprised of groups of villages. Then local government. Every village or gramam, village were also called gramam. They were self-governing units. They were administered by the assembly called Ur. Sometimes few villages were grouped together, and they were administered by Mahasabha. The assemblies enjoyed full powers, and they were supervised by royal officials. They looked after the interests of cultivators and others. वो cultivators के को क्या चाहिए, उनकी फेवर में क्या करना चाहिए, so they were always looking after that. New land was brought under cultivation by clearing the forest. Now these assemblies, which were the assemblies, these Mahasabhas, they collected the revenue from the peasants, and they were giving a share of these revenue to the government. These assemblies were also settling down minor disputes. जो छोटे छोटे झगड़े होते थे वो भी ये assemblies sort out करती थी. And they were also collecting fines for these some minor crimes. छोटे छोटे जो crimes होते थे उनकी punishment क्या दी जाती थी? कई बार fine लिया जाता था. Temple architecture and bone sculptures. Chola kings built temples, many temples. Now these temples were not only the places for worship, but they were also the centers for economic activities. Economic activity means जहाँ पर लेन देन की activities होती थी, जहाँ पर व्यापार भी होता था. Now these temples became the center of craft production. लाइक ब्रोंज एंड स्टोन स्कल्पचर, मूर्तियाँ बनाई जाती थी बोन्स एंड स्टोन की। तो जो कारीगर बोन्स और स्टोन की मूर्तियाँ बनाते थे उनको अर्निंग होती थी, एंड जो कार्विंग करते थे, जो स्टोन कटिंग करते थे, तो सब पैसा कमा रहे थे मूर्तियाँ बनाकर। एंड द पीपल हु वर वर्किंग इन द टेम्पल्स, लाइक हु वर वर्किंग इन द टेम्पल्स, प्रीस्ट थे, पंडित थे, गार्लैंड मेकर्स थे, गार्लैंड मीन जो हार बनाते थे फूलों के, जो मंदिर में खाना बनाते थे, जो म्यूजिशियंस थे, दे वर ऑल इन्वॉल्व इन दिस इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटीज। तो उनको अर्निंग हो रही थी बिकॉज ऑफ टेम्पल्स, एंड दे वर ऑल्सो गिवन द क्रॉप्स प्रोड्यूस्ड इन द टेम्पल लैंड्स। दीज लैंड्स ऑफ टेम्पल वर डोनेटेड टू द टेम्पल बाय द रूलर्स। अब टेम्पल्स के पास जो लैंड्स थी वो कहाँ से आई थी, वो उन्होंने उनको किसने दी थी, वो उनको जो रूलर्स थे या फिर जो रिच मर्चेंट्स थे, व्यापारी थे, उनको दी गई थी। एंड दीज लैंड्स वर कल्टिवेटेड बाय द फार्मर्स। The Chola rulers often inscribed details of their achievements on the walls of the temples. अब जो ये चोला रूलर्स थे उनकी जो भी अचीवमेंट्स होती थी वो क्या करते थे, उनको टेम्पल्स की वॉल्स के ऊपर इंस्क्राइब कर देते, खुदवा देते थे। दैट इज़ वाई वी come to know a lot of things about these cholas from these inscriptions only। हमें इन inscriptions के थ्रू ही हमें बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मिली है चोलास की। Large number of stone inscriptions by cholas themselves and by their rival kings Pandyas and Chalukyas and copper plates have helped in constructing the history of cholas of that period। now कुछ जो inscriptions थी cholas ने खुद लिखी थी और कुछ उनके एनिमी किंग्स ने भी लिखी थी। सो दिस ऑल इंस्क्रिप्शंस हैव हेल्प्ड टू नो अबाउट चोलास। Now the quality of these inscriptions shows that the people of that time were literate, educated। The text in these inscriptions were written by the court poets। जो इसमें टेक्स्ट यूज़ किया गया, जो लिखा गया, वो किसने लिखा, वो कोर्ट पोइट्स ने लिखा। और उसको एनग्रेव खोदा किसने, आर्टिसंस ने खोदा। इंस्क्रिप्शंस फ्रॉम उत्तरामेरूर इन Chengalpet district, Tamil Nadu have yielded important details of the way in which the Sabha was organized। So उत्तरा मेरोर में जो इंस्क्रिप्शन मिली है उससे पता चलता है कि जो सभा होती थी, असेंबली होती थी विलेजेस में, वो कैसे ऑर्गेनाइज की जाती थी। देयर वर सेपरेट कमेटीज विद इन द सभा। सभा में बहुत कमेटीज बनाई जाती थी जो अलग अलग कामों को देखती थी। दे वर लुकिंग आफ्टर डिफरेंट वर्क्स, लाइक irrigation work was looked after by irrigation committee, gardens were looked after by garden committee, temples were looked after by temple committee। so this is all about cholas। so in this chapter we have studied about the new kingdoms which emerged during this period and the new kings, new dynasties which emerged during this period। so I hope all of you have understood this chapter। have a nice day, students।